The health minister has kind of just passed the buck. He's just passed it on to the trust and say, away you go, provide the vision. You know, in his own response, Mike Nesbitt, that the consultation is entirely a matter for the trust. Well, if it was entirely a matter for the trust, why on earth were you intervening in it, health minister? You know, he's full of contradictions here. And what I would say is he said he'd happily discuss it at the executive if his executive colleagues bring it up. Is he the health minister or is he not? Who is responsible? You know, what's the point of Mike Nesbitt in health if this is his response and attitude to it? He's saying he's telling the trust to develop a vision. You're the minister. It's your job to develop the vision. That's literally your role, is you're guiding the department and you're guiding health. You are the provider of that. And, you know, I think his executive colleagues are saying it's up to him. He's saying it's up to other people. I think there's serious question marks over the running of health here in the north, with attitudes to that, and in particular the approach to the hospital. Yeah, there's been one intervention. He's shown he can intervene. It's time for him to really up his game here. Otherwise, what's the point? Chair, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Just on this health debate and SWA and all of that, in the past couple of weeks, Alison and I met with the Mayor and Chief Executive of Derry Strabane Council, and in association with SOAS, we all met at the Guildhall in Derry, and we had an important engagement that was acknowledged publicly, you know, by SOAS as essentially a good thing to do. But what I want to say next is that if I'm looking at the roadmap that we have endorsed as a council, there's an important north-south bit in it, and it makes reference to cooperation in relation to health on a north-south basis, where it works, you know, like, for example, the Northwest Cancer Centre, you know, Donegal people accessing services, Galvin and all of that. But there's work to be done here with respect to SWA and barriers that are in place till people accessing SWA from neighbouring counties, and registration issues and insurance and various hurdles, you know. And I think in the month of September, we're due to hear the report of the ICLRD as well, you know, which was commissioned by this council to look at holistically in this council area our health deficits, you know. So one thing that I would like to put on the table is that we should be seeking, because this report's coming out, and this obviously was a feature of the discussions, and it's in the roadmap here produced by SOAS that we have endorsed, North-South Development and Opportunity for SWA. If we're looking to the long-term expansion of services there, then we need to look at this whole area carefully. So I would propose that we write to both Minister Nesbitt, but also Jennifer Carroll McNeil in the South, for a meeting to discuss our needs as a council area in respect of health, and this agenda here that has been identified in the roadmap, you know, that we discuss north-south barriers to access and the future sustainability of SWA in respect of having a greater catchment area, etc. So I obviously want to make that proposal even prior to the issuing of that report, but Alison might tell us about that report when it's due and that kind of thing, because again, this came from a council motion. But before I go to Alison, I'll go to Councillor Hayes.
Thank you, Chair. I don't know if I'm coming in the wrong place here.
This is about SWA and about health.
It is regards to the trust, yeah. But you just mentioned the letters from the ministers.
Yeah.
It was just a question to the trust, not specific. I can come in later.
Okay, it might be later on.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, thank you. Go now. I think, Adam, I've heard from you. You're going to second that proposal. Thank you, Councillor Gannon. Okay, I'll come back to you. I'm going to go to Councillor Coyle next.
Thanks, Chair. Yeah, I was going to mention the ICLRD report, but I just wanted to add, you've actually covered what I was originally going to ask, but I just think that not just the minister in the South, but I think we need to be contacting our bordering councillors as well, because they're going to be debating this in their council chambers, and we need to be doing that, you know, together and meeting up with them as well. And I think I wanted to ask Alison, although I'm sure she's going to tell us, are we having a meeting with ICLRD before the actual final report, aren't we? And then I think once the final report is done, I think it actually needs to be sent, because it is about the health of the whole, everybody on the island. You know, like, you know, we've got the Children's Hospital in Dublin. And I think it needs to go to every council on the island once it's done. But I just would like clarification over the meeting before the final report is done. And I do think it needs to go out, especially not just to Derry and Strabane and Mid Ulster, but you know, Cavan, Leitrim, Sligo, Donegal, Monaghan.
I'll come back to Alison in a second. I'll take Councillor Riley and then a comment from Councillor Gannon.
Chair, I just want to throw into this conversation what I seen Professor Mark Taylor saying a couple of days ago, that, and we all know how long the elective surgery waiting lists are and all of the rest, and that his job is to find a way to bring down waiting lists and to reconstruct how services delivered. And he made a point that rural hospitals were well placed to be the elective centres, so that emergency wouldn't disrupt the routine of elective surgeries, and that they could play obviously a big role in taking down waiting lists. But while that is all well and good in a way, it certainly leaves a lot of questions for hospitals such as SWA.
Thank you, Thomas. Councillor Deehan, and then finally it'll be Councillor Gannon. Councillor Deehan.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Well, I want to support your proposals in their entirety, Chair. What you say and what you propose makes perfect sense. We need, and yes, I do agree that, you know, local hospitals can provide very valuable elective services. But I think what we need to fight for is acute services. And we all know how important it is to have ready access to those acute services when we need them, particularly in our district council area, which covers a wide geographical area with very poor roads infrastructure. I do think there is a major role for cross-border cooperation in the area of healthcare, and particularly in the area of acute care. And that is something that needs to be explored as a matter of urgency. We need to fight using every possible avenue for the retention of full services in the South West Acute Hospital, which serves not only the Fermanagh County, but also the Omagh and district as well. And those are services that we value very much, and we are committed to fighting for their preservation, Chair. So I support your proposals entirely. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Councillor Deehan. And finally, Councillor Gannon.
Thank you, Chair, for letting me back in. And it's just a quick suggestion to add to your very good proposal, and everyone else made absolutely excellent points. Perhaps in our correspondence, we obviously to the Jennifer Carroll McNeil, if we forward a copy or the link to the roadmap itself, it's a great document. And then when ICLRD comes out, when it's appropriate, yeah. I think Councillor Coyle made a great suggestion about the councils cross border. Maybe we should be formalising some form of engagement on it with them to really highlight it. But that's for another time. But a very good proposal, Chair. Thank you.
And that's agreed, members. Those actions that have been proposed and seconded. Thanks very much, everybody. So again, page 7.
So, sorry, Chair, just in relation to Councillor Coyle's query about ICLRD. So yes, the intention is that we will receive a final draft report, which will then be shared, discussed, briefed with members, see if there are any matters that need to be updated, reflected, and then that'll be, the report will be finalised. Sorry, that should be received now within, I would hope, the next 10 days or so. And then when I would hope the final draft should be fairly much there, then it'll be finalised, and it was agreed that we would do a launch of that report, but that also ICLRD would perhaps give us some advice and this evening's discussion is relevant as well around how we might choose to present it and advocacy. And then the final element, Chair, that we would also tie in, I think, to the consideration of that at the Manor House event, it was suggested that the council may be a suitable body to perhaps on an annual or every other year basis do, whether it be called a symposium, but a specific focus on rural health within the district. So that would be something that we would be thinking then for 2026. So yes, a long answer to say